Good morning, children. Welcome to the PowerPoint presentation. Class 12th. Today we shall be dealing with a poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. It is Flamingo. Okay. Elementary school classroom in a slum. Slum, as we have gone through. Slum, that area for poor people. An elementary school means the school up till 8th standard. And the situation of a classroom is explained by the poet, their conditions in this poem. So about the poet, Sir Stephen Harold Spender, 20th February 1909 to 16th July 1995, was an English poet, novelist and essayist. He concentrated on themes of social injustice and the class struggle in his work. He was appointed as the Poet Laureate Consultant in Poetry to the United States Library of Congress in 1965. About the poet, this poem is An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum is a part of The God That Failed in 1949. A lyrical poem, it is about young children, the unpleasant lives of poor children in the slums, the importance of education and the significance of the role of these children, a role of the teachers. It has been explained over here. Again about the elementary school in a slum, it is given the theme, children. The theme of the poem, An Elementary School Classroom, is the plight of poor children living in slums. Plight means the condition. He talks about the social injustice and inequalities. The poet Stephen Spender wants the life of the slum children to be changed. He wants their poverty to be ended. He wishes them to live in healthier, hygienic and beautiful environment. Again, the social injustice and class inequalities. How see these children are, how they are sitting in a classroom down, isn't it? Again, in this poem, Stephen Spender deals with the theme of social injustice and class inequalities. He presents the theme by talking of two different and incompatible worlds. The world of the rich and the civilized had nothing to do with the world of these poor people, those who are living in narrow lanes and cramped holes, children. The gap between these two worlds highlights social disparities and class inequalities by Stephen Spender. Stephen Spender has presented a true picture of life of the school children living in the slum area of Trioles Valley of Austrian Alpine province. These children are in a very miserable condition. Due to their poverty and literacy, they are depressed. Their pale faces express sadness. They look lean, skinny and bony. They are like rootless weeds which cannot resist anything from their existence. They are physically weak and undernourished. Spender speaks his concern for these children who live in all these small and slum area throughout their life in slums and have no opportunity to enjoy the blessings of the real world. He makes a frantic appeal to the educated and affluent sections of the society to better the lot of the slum children through education. If these people will help the poor and the depressed, maybe the social injustice and class inequalities will be removed. This is what his thought is. Now we will be dealing today with the first stanza, children. The first stanza of the poem speaks about far, far from gusty waves these children faces, the rootless weeds, the hair torn round their parlor, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper swimming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted unlucky hair, the twisted bone reciting the father's gnarled disease. His lessons from his desk at the back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel game in the tree room other than this. Now children, see the explanation. Far, far from gusty wave these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round the parlor, the tall girl with her weighed down head. Now, gusty waves means the breezy wind, parlor here means the dull faces, and weeds means the unwanted plants which grow here and there. So here the poet describes about the children who study in this elementary school, which is set up in a slum area. Okay, so the poet says that the faces of the children are dull and without any energy, lifeless, no life at all. They are not full of energy like other kids of their age. These children are compared to unwanted weeds, the weeds which are growing, the grass which are growing, which is not wanted by people. Here the writer wants to say that these children seems to be unwanted like the unwanted weeds which grow on their own in the fields. Their hair are not neatly done. The hair is not properly combed. It falls on their pale faces. Pale means the weak faces, as if they have been torn apart. Torn apart means torn, tear. Past tense of tear is torn apart. The children are untidy. They haven't combed their hairs. Then it describes a tall girl who seems to be burdened by poverty. Her head is bent, maybe because of the tiredness or shame. Understood, children? Now the literary device is also given here, similes here, again the comparison. Children are compared with rootless weed, like root weeds, unwanted. That is the simile, comparison. And the repetition use of far from this is again for a distance. It has been repeated. So these are the two poetic devices. Later on we'll consult it. The paper seeming boy with rat's eyes. The stunted, unlucky hair of twisted bones, reciting the father's gnarled disease, his lessons from his desk. Stunted means not fully grown due to malnourished or malnutrition. Unhealthy, not properly grown, developed. Gnarled, knotted, rough surface. Paper seeming boy means the boy is compared with a paper. Just like paper, the paper is very thin, the boy is also very thin because of not getting proper nutrition. Hair means the successor. There is another boy so weak and thin that he has been compared to the sheet of paper, children. Okay, so the boy's eyes reflect greed, and he describes and he wants to achieve everything. His eyes were being compared with the because due to malnourished he was not properly fed and all, and he was compared with the animals there. So the poet says that this boy is unlucky because he inherited a disease from his father. Taken the disease from his father, from grandfather to father, father to the son, son to the grandson, then the great grandson, like that it is inherited. And instead of getting any facility from his father, he has received a disease in heritage. This disabled boy is sitting on his bench and is reciting his lesson. A metaphor, a poetic device is here, metaphor. Metaphor means a comparison. The boy is compared with the paper as thin as he. Okay. Now, at the back of the class, in dim, dark area, was a small boy who was not visible to the poet as he was sitting in darkness. The teacher was teaching, and the back of class, last bench, one boy is sitting there. The teacher was not able to see him. The poet could see his eyes, which are bright and full of dreams. Only the teacher could see, the poet could see his eyes, which were very, very full of dreams. Okay, very bright. Maybe some dreams are in his eyes. He want to do something, he want to achieve something. He was not at all paying attention to the class. It seems as if he was rather interested in playing with squirrel in the tree house. Outside the window he is watching, he is observing, and he found that the squirrels are playing outside. So he was much more interested in outside game of the squirrel rather than what the teacher is teaching. So this is about the explanation, children. Just see what it is. The poet says that the condition of the children in the slum school is pathetic. Their world is far removed from the open, healthy environment. They are as unwanted as the rootless weed. Their hair is unkempt and they have pale faces, which nearly indicates that they are from the deprived and unnourished condition. Okay. Now the same, it has been given the explanation to make you understand more easily. Repeatedly I am giving uh, these things. These children, as a tall girl, are pressed by the burden of the circumstances. Because of the circumstances, because of the poverty, her face is bent down. They are exhausted both physically as well as emotionally. Exhausted, tired, physically and emotionally. The paper thin boy is skinny, very thin. His eyes have a sacred look. These unfortunate beings have inherited only disease and bad luck from their parents. They did not inherit, they did not get anything from their parents. Only what they got? The disease they got, and bad luck from their parents. One of the disease ones can't even get up from the desk to recite his lesson. One of the boy who was so much, what you call, with full of disease, that he not even not able to get up from his desk to recite his lesson also. So again the explanation has been given here. However, there is one child at the back of the class who is younger than the other. At the back of the class, one boy is sitting there. His inexperienced eyes are full of hope, and he is dreaming about playing games in an open. Playing games in an open. Rat size here it has been compared. But the rat is greedy to find something, no? Very often he search. The rats keep searching here and there, thinking here and there, searching to get something to eat. In the same manner, with full of hopes and dreaming eyes, this boy is having but about playing the games in an open. Apparently gloom has still not enveloped him. Gloom means the sadness. The sadness is not enveloped him, means covered him, and that is why some thing is in him which is unknotted. So the new words, children: gusty, a rush of wind here, full of energy or vigor. Weeds means unwanted plant. Pallor means unhealthy pale experience, and stunted means underdeveloped. These are the new words for you. The poetic device: far means repetition and alteration. Repetition, alteration. Same thing is coming. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter, so Betty bought another butter to make the bitter butter better. Okay? Like you might be having many in Hindi also and Marathi also. So far, repetition, alteration. Gusty waves means personification, which speaks about gusty waves. It's been personified as someone is there. It has been personified as a person is speaking. It has been personified, as you have in the 11th class. One poem was the rain, isn't it? It was personification. The entire poem was of personification. Like rootless weeds, simile. It has been compared like. Okay, rootless weeds, unwanted weeds. The children's life are being compared with this unwanted weeds. The paper seeming boy. Here as, metaphor, as. Like the paper seeming boy, he is as thin as the paper. With rat size, again a metaphor. Okay, again the boy's eye is being compared with rat size. Surely Shakespeare, alteration. From fog to endless night, again alteration. The important question, children. The important question will have of this poem: what do you think is the color of the sour cream? What do you think the color of the sour cream? Why do you think the poet has used this experience to describe the classroom walls? Explanation I have given the answer also. Better you pen down, you note down in your notebooks. What does the poet want for the children of the slum? Again, the answer has been given. How do you agree with the statement, history is there whose language is sun? This is again a metaphor, children, contains a vital truth. The world does not listen to the dumb and driven people. Only those who can speak with confidence, power, authority and vision are heard and obeyed. Those who have got the guts to speak. Okay, to speak their mind, their thought, their ideas. Only people listen to that. Those who are quite dumb and driven by others, people don't listen them. So those who create history are people whose ideas and language can motivate, move or inspire. So children, they are inspired, they are motivated and influence millions of people. Their language, their words, their thoughts are what you call inspired. They are inspiring, they are influential people, those who can influence millions of people. In order to be effective, their language must have the warmth and power of the sun, power of the daylight, power of the sun. Means the truth should be there, the clarity should be there, no ambiguous thing should be there, and that is how the people will listen. Millions of people and billions of people will listen to such person only, the one who is very clear in his ideas, the one who is having guts and confidence and will speak. Okay, so this is about our first stanza. Thank you. We'll be dealing in the next period, we'll be dealing about the second stanza. Okay, bye bye.